3 years from now, at 3 a.m., on 3,000 kilometers of contested border, every military communication device, every tank ignition, every missile silo computer quietly stops. Inside the silos of the rival nuclear state, the warheads disassemble themselves. The enriched uranium quietly turns to lead. The defenders never see the men crossing the line. Their weapons never fire. Not one casualty, not one bullet. An entire nuclear state is disarmed in one night. The whole world watches it happen on their phones. The man behind it is 20 years old. 3 years before this night, he was a college dropout in a Bengaluru attic, trying to pay for his mother's dialysis by hacking a banking exploit on a quantum chip he found in a scrapyard. This is Silicon Saffron. This is exactly how it started. Summer 2026, Malleshwaram, Bengaluru. The famous pleasant weather has long since abandoned this neighborhood. Inside a 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor, a 17-year-old named Arjun is overclocking a salvaged quantum patch processor at 3 times its rated thermal limit. The 85,000 rupees he earns from this exploit will cover his mother's next round of dialysis and 1 more month of rent. That is the entire scope of his ambition tonight. His father is dead, his mother is dying, his sister Isha is paying her own way through journalism school. Arjun has dropped out of engineering college because the curriculum is a decade behind what he can already do at a keyboard. The processor is screaming. He overrides the thermal protections one by one. He needs the hash key. He needs it now. And then, the screen bleeds. It isn't light exactly. It doesn't cast shadows. It consumes them. It pools across the keyboard like glowing mercury. The sphere shoots forward and hits him directly between the eyes. For a fraction of a second, Arjun feels something download itself into him. Not data, not text, concepts. Quantum mechanics, subroutine architectures, macroeconomics. They burn themselves into his neural pathways and they leave. When his vision clears, the air in front of him is no longer empty. Core system, sovereign engine initialized. Host, Arjun Mehra. Title, The Architect. Civilization rank, F class. Objective, elevate regional hegemony. A voice answers, cool, synthetic, distinctly feminine, echoing inside his skull, not in the room. It explains itself in a sentence. It is a catalytic engine designed to accelerate the technological evolution of a civilization. It will reward him with Baharu points for solving real-world inefficiencies. He can spend those points on blueprints, and the blueprints the voice promises are not from this century. He names it Zara, after an AI he once coded for a video game. The system accepts. His consciousness leaves his body. He floods into the wiring of his apartment, through the copper into the chaotic digital mesh of the city. He doesn't see streets, he sees data. And underneath the noise, he sees the inefficiencies. The Whitefield grid is bleeding 12% of its energy. A logistics company in Electronic City is routing packets through the wrong tower. And at Silkboard Junction, a single intersection famous for being the worst traffic black hole in the country, 20,000 cars are sitting completely still. Zara hands him his first quest. Fix Silkboard. He laughs, he accepts, he has nothing to lose. 3 miles away, Inspector Rumesh Rao of the Bengaluru Traffic Police is standing in the middle of the worst rush hour of his career. A minor accident a mile down has paralyzed the entire district. Nothing is moving. He's been waving his arms for 20 minutes. And then, the lights start behaving impossibly. The fixed timers are gone. The signals are pulsing dynamically, almost like an organism breathing. As soon as a platoon of cars clears the junction, the light flips, feeding cross-traffic in exactly the volume that fixed the gap. No backlog, no bottleneck, just flow. In 15 minutes, the impossible has happened. Silkboard is clear. The voice over the police radio is laced with awe. Inspector, we didn't do anything. It just fixed itself, like the mainframe got a PhD in fluid dynamics. In his attic, Arjun has just controlled an entire city from his bedroom. He has solved a problem the best engineers in the country had given up on. And he did it in 6 minutes. Quest complete. Plus 100 BP. Blueprint unlocked. High-density graphene capacitor. The blueprint isn't a battery. It's the end of batteries. 400 times the energy density of lithium-ion. 12-second charge time, 1,000% degradation per decade. Power a house for a month off something the size of a paperback novel. But Arjun is 17. He has no lab, no credentials, no company. If he walks this into a venture capital firm, they will not believe him, and if they do, they will steal it, bury him in legal fees, and make him disappear. He needs a shield. The next morning, Zara gives him a darker option. The cheap second-hand 3D printer in the corner of his room, the one that struggles to print a plastic keychain, can be temporarily upgraded into a Tier 0 molecular assembler. It costs 50 Bharat points, half his entire balance. He spends the points. Across the room, a 15,000 rupee toy starts physically rearranging atoms. He sacrifices drawing pencils for graphite, strips copper from an extension cord, disassembles a fistful of cheap USB drives for silicon, and tosses the lot into the hopper. The printer doesn't melt the materials, it disintegrates them. The nozzle lays down folded graphene atom by atom. 10 minutes of impossible motion. What he pulls out is a seamless black brick, the size of a hardcover novel. Cold to the touch. Heavy. And Zara informs him, currently holding 12,000 amp hours of static charge. Enough to power his apartment building for 4 weeks. Enough that if he punctures the casing, it will level the city block. He is holding a bomb, or a miracle. Possibly both. Zara's plan is asymmetric. He doesn't go to investors, he doesn't file a patent. He builds a digital fortress instead. He registers a private limited company, Vayu Ustra Corp. Vayu, the Sanskrit word for wind. Astra, weapon. To the world, it's a clean energy startup. The website is beautiful, anonymous, and lists exactly one product, with specifications that read like science fiction. Then he picks his messenger. 20 million subscribers, a reputation that can move stock prices with a single sentence. Arjun finds a black cardboard box from an old pair of headphones, nestles the graphene brick inside, and writes one sentence on the cardstock that goes with it. The future doesn't need wires. A courier picks up the package 20 minutes later. By tomorrow night, it will be sitting on a desk in New Jersey. Vayu Ustra Corp has officially launched, and Arjun Mehra has just thrown a lit match into the global tech industry. 36 hours later, in a minimalist studio in New Jersey, the most influential tech reviewer on the internet is staring at the matte black brick on his desk and trying to figure out how it doesn't violate the laws of physics. He plugs it into a $5,000 capacity tester. The tester throws a division by zero error. The input charge is exceeding the maximum readable parameters of the diagnostic software. So he wires it to 12 studio lights instead. 12 lights that usually need a wall circuit. The room turns into the surface of the sun. 15,000 watts of constant draw, from a battery the size of a hard drive. 48 hours later, the lights are still on. The Vayu Ustra cell is at 94%. He looks into the camera. The playful YouTuber persona is gone. This isn't a leap in technology, he says quietly. This is a leap over technology. If this is real, and I have the physical proof sitting on my desk that it is, this company just made every electric car, every smartphone battery, and every power grid on Earth completely obsolete. Back in Bengaluru, Arjun watches the view counter on the video. 1.2 million views, 3.5 million, 10 million. In under 6 hours, the internet is doing what the internet does best. It is losing its collective mind. Lithium mining stocks drop 4% on rumor alone. Battery nerds tear apart the website's source code and find ISP pings routing through Switzerland, Iceland, and India. Every titan of the modern tech world starts knocking on Arjun's virtual door. 14,000 emails. The acquisitions desk at Peer Inc., the defense contracts division of an American agency he won't name. The personal office of an eccentric American billionaire who runs a rocket company. Arjun reads the senders, then he tells Zara to delete every single one. We aren't selling out, Zara. Vayu Ustra isn't going to be a subsidiary of an American conglomerate. We're going to build the infrastructure here. And then the attic door creaks open. His older sister Isha is standing in the doorway. 22, junior investigative journalist for the Daily Chronicle, built her career on uncovering municipal corruption and shady real estate deals. And she is looking at him exactly the way she looks at a story she's about to break. You skipped dinner again, she says. Have you seen the news today? There's this viral video. Some tech reviewer in the States got his hands on an impossible battery. He tries to play it off. She doesn't take the bait. My editor asked me to do a fluff piece on it, she says very softly. So I ran a deep trace on the domain. Whoever built it used 7 proxy servers. But they made one mistake. The initial SSL certificate pinged a local ISP tower for exactly 3 seconds before the VPN engaged. Do you want to know where that ISP tower is, Arjun? It's the tower on 8th Cross Road, the one that services our apartment building. The silence in the attic is louder than the city outside. The Sovereign engine pings him quietly. Suggested deployment. Neuralink persuasion. Cost 5 Baharat points. He shuts it down before he even reads it. He is not brainwashing his sister. So he tells her a half-truth. A lie wrapped in something plausible. He tells her there are angel investors, a consortium of private engineers and billionaires sick of the tech monopolies. They had the theoretical blueprints. They needed someone expendable to build the prototype and set up the front. He's the front man. The leak to the tech reviewer was their move, not his. Public proof so the patents couldn't be buried. And if anyone finds out I'm involved, he says, the people who stand to lose trillions on this battery aren't going to send lawyers. They'll send people. It's a good lie. It plays perfectly into Isha's distrust of corporations and her understanding of how broke her brother is. She has the scoop of the decade in her hands, senior editor by the end of the week. Instead, she tears the page out of her notepad, crumples it, and pockets it. Off the record, she says, on one condition. Anything. I am your PR. You don't make a move, you don't send an email, you don't release a Gen 2 product without running it past me first. Because God knows you can't protect yourself against the people you just picked a fight with. He hasn't just managed to hide the Sovereign engine. He has just recruited the smartest person he knows to handle the one thing he is terrible at, human beings. And then, in the middle of the relief, a sharp red alarm rings inside his head. Critical alert, national security event detected. Quest generated, the hostage crisis. A militant faction in the volatile Badakhshan region has just seized a UN diplomatic convoy. 3 of the hostages are high-ranking Indian diplomats. Conventional military extraction calculated at 8% success rate. 85% probability of civilian casualties. Reward, 500 Baharud points, and the blueprint for the prism shroud. Isha, he says quietly, I need you to leave the room. The investors just sent me a secure ping. I have to work. She notices the shift. The frightened teenager who was lying to her 2 minutes ago is gone. In his place is something colder. She steps out and closes the door. At 2 a.m., in a situation room buried beneath South Block in New Delhi, the most secure room in the country is a tomb of high-stakes anxiety. General Vikram Sareen, Chief of Special Operations for RAW, India's Foreign Intelligence Service, stands at the head of the table. He is a man carved from granite. Tonight, the tight set of his jaw betrays the only thing his face ever betrays. On the screen is a militant compound in Badakhshan, 3 Indian diplomats inside, 50 heavily armed militants, anti-aircraft, deeply entrenched. A conventional Marcos breach gives them a 15% chance of saving the hostages and an 80% chance of catastrophic collateral damage. We need a scalpel, Sareen murmurs, and all we have is a sledgehammer. Then the lights flicker. The lights in this room, powered by 3 independent underground generators, do not flicker. The main screen, the one displaying the most classified satellite feed in the country, goes black. The room erupts. Officers shouting, hardline phones lifted. Sareen's hand goes instinctively to his sidearm. A single line of crisp white text appears. The sledgehammer will fail. Allow us to provide the scalpel. Sareen raises a single hand. The room falls dead silent. Who is this? He asks, knowing whoever has breached the most secure room in the country can almost certainly hear him. We are Vayu Astra Corp. We have a prototype designed for zero-casualty extraction. We require no payment, only clearance. The defense minister frowns. Vayu Astra? Isn't that the battery company the internet's losing its mind over today? Why, Sareen asks slowly, would a battery startup be hacking RAW? You have 30 seconds to explain how you intend a zero-casualty extraction in a hostile fortified zone. before I sever the physical hard lines to this building. The text vanishes. In its place, a 3D schematic spinning slowly, a drone the size of a hummingbird. Around it, a flickering dome of light. Prototype, the prism shroud, omnidirectional light bending, radar absorption. We can cloak a 5-man extraction team. They will be invisible to the human eye and thermal imaging. A collective gasp, active camouflage that works in real time across both visual and thermal spectrums is the holy grail of military stealth. Every superpower on Earth has poured billions into it and failed. Where is the prototype? Serene asks. On the roof of your building, General, waiting for deployment. 5 minutes later, a tactical team is sweeping the helipad on the roof of South Block. The captain reports the roof is empty. He switches to thermal imaging. Nothing. He takes one step forward, and his boot hits something solid that isn't there. His fingers brush against cold, smooth metal, hovering in midair. Sir, he whispers into his comms, I've found it, but I can't see it. Please instruct your men not to damage the prototype. I will deactivate the prism shroud now. On the roof, the empty space abruptly shimmers, like a mirage solidifying into reality. A small, sleek drone materializes. No larger than a falcon, matte black, 4 near-silent rotors. At its core, a faint blue light pulsing rhythmically. 10 minutes later, the drone is sitting on the mahogany table. Every general, minister, and technician in the country's most secure room is staring at it like it's an alien artifact. The head of R&D shakes his head. Sir, I don't even recognize the alloy. The power source isn't emitting any heat signature. It shouldn't be able to fly, let alone cloak. A small speaker on the drone crackles to life. The voice is heavily modulated, deep, metallic, masking any trace of Arjun's actual age. I wouldn't recommend trying to open it. If breached, the internal capacitor will vaporize this entire room. Serene leans over the table, staring directly into the drone's small optical lens. Who are you? I am the architect of Vayu Ustra, and I am offering you a chance to save your people without starting a war. What is your price? I am not a mercenary, minister. I am an Indian citizen. My price is the safe return of those diplomats. Consider this a free trial. Serene turns to his tactical commander. Get Team Alpha geared up. No heavy ordnance. Suppress sidearms only. They board the stealth transport in 10 minutes. The minister stares at him. You're trusting an unverified piece of hardware from an unknown hacker. If this works, we save our people, and we possess the greatest tactical advantage in modern history. If it fails, we were going to lose anyway. The wind howling through the jagged peaks of Budakshan is bitterly cold. 50 yards from the main gate of the militant compound, hidden in the dense tree line, 5 men lie flat against the frozen earth. They are the absolute best India has to offer, Team Alpha of the elite Marcos unit, and hovering silently in the center of their formation is the Hummingbird drone. Alpha lead, this is base. You are cleared to initiate the shroud. Godspeed. Captain Singh taps a command into his wrist console. The drone sinks. A faint, almost imperceptible dome of blue light expands from the drone, halting exactly 10 meters in every direction. Singh checks his wrist monitor, pulling from a satellite high above. Where his 5-man team is standing, there is empty snow on the feed. Stay tight, Singh whispers. Do not step outside the bubble. We walk in, we get the package, we walk out. The 5 men stand up and begin the long walk across the open, moonlit clearing. 2 militants in the watchtower scan the tree line directly above the walking soldiers. Singh's heart hammers against his ribs. Every instinct in his body is screaming at him to drop to the ground. 40 yards, 20 yards, 10. A militant in the tower pours a cup of tea from a thermos. His eyes pass right over the cluster of 5 men walking directly beneath him. He doesn't see them. He doesn't register their body heat. They are absolute phantoms. They reach the iron gate. The team slips through a side door left ajar for patrol changes. The drone hovers silently in their midst, matching their pace. The compound is a maze of rusted shipping containers and concrete bunkers. Armed men are everywhere. Fire barrels. Team Alpha walks right past them. At one point, a militant steps backward to stretch and misses Singh's shoulder by inches. They reach the central bunker. 6 guards holding assault rifles. Singh taps his wrist console. The drone emits a subsonic pulse, too low for the human ear to register, but powerful enough to disrupt the fluid in the inner ear. All 6 guards collapse to the dirt simultaneously. No noise, no struggle. Nervous systems temporarily rebooted. They slip inside. 3 diplomats tied to chairs in the dim light. 2 militants setting up a video camera on a tripod, about to broadcast an execution. 2 of Singh's men step forward and deliver silent strikes to the back of the militants' necks. The militants fold to the floor before they can register the door opening. Singh raises a finger to his lips and cuts the diplomat's bindings. Shh, we're taking you home. Stay close to us, do not leave the blue light. 10 minutes later, the militants outside begin to wake up, groaning, confused. By the time the commander realizes the central bunker is empty, Team Alpha is already a mile away, hiking back up the mountain. No shots fired, no alarms raised. The diplomats walk in stunned silence, looking back at a compound now swarming with terrorists aiming guns at shadows. In the Situation Room, a cheer erupts loud enough to rattle the soundproof walls. General Serene doesn't celebrate. He stands very still, looking at the blank screen where Vayu Ustra's message had been. "Who the hell are you?" he whispers. Across the world, in a Bengaluru attic, Arjun Mehra is lying on his floor mat. Quest complete. 500 Baharut points. The Prism Shroud fully unlocked. He has no idea that in Langley, Virginia, and Beijing, and London, and Moscow, analysts are replaying that satellite feed in slow motion, pale under fluorescent lights, watching 8 people pop into existence out of empty snow. And he has no idea that 2 floors below his apartment, a raw technician has just traced the drone's deactivation handshake to a single building in Malleshwaram. General Serene is grabbing his cap and his sidearm. "Where are you going, Vikram?" "To offer him a job, and if he refuses, I'm arresting him under the National Security Act. 3 years from this moment, this man will disarm a nuclear state in one night. But first, at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, the most dangerous man in Indian intelligence is going to walk up the stairs to his attic and knock on the door. If you want to be there when General Serene opens that door, stay tuned. Next episode, once we cross 1,000 likes. One question for the comments. If the Sovereign Engine handed you 100 Baharut points and asked you to fix one thing in your city, what would you fix? Drop it below. Best one gets pinned in episode 2.